How I see my life in terms of sorting it out is I've made a mark. I made some form of a comeback where my name is among the stars. Whatever else I do would not be below me. I can only stay at a level. I will only stay at a level. There's no way I can go down because I have the talent. I have done this much, and the only thing that could interfere would be if I didn't record any more music. I had no feeling of being a star. I just wanna hold on to this true love. The family but me. Don't ask me why now, I don't know, but I'm the one that was the talented one. I am the chosen child. You know when your mother says, she's very talented, she can sing and dance. I was one of those little girls and knew it. I was confident. I was never ashamed to do it. I was the youngest, the littlest. I was a little girl and I could sing better than some of the women. And I didn't like sitting in the pew in the crowd. I wanted to be on the stage with the choir, up there. And they called me Little Anime. She sure can sing. And I was singing. Good memory. I felt small because those women were big and they were singing. Ah, that's really strong singing. And I was right up there with them.
Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home.
From the first memory, it was my mother and father fighting, and my mother dragging us off, leaving my father going to her mother's house. And a few days, then Daddy coming in to get us and talk to her, and she would come back. So I guess when she decided to finally leave is why she left the South, is because she didn't want him to come for her and didn't want him to know where she was, so she never kept in touch because of that reason. Eventually, he found out where she was anyway, but that was how it was. So children adapt, especially when you're young. If it's a way of life, you find something. I was always out of the house. I get up in the morning, have my breakfast, which we still had family breakfast. The whole family was at the table, and they were civil sometimes, but when whatever happened, the fight started, my mother and father were fighting, and usually I was out in the pastures or going for walks or playing house, as we call it, cooking with the mud and making the cakes and so forth, out with the animals. And it was fun for me. And of course, when I came home, then hopefully everything would be all right, or it wouldn't. So then you just be quiet because, when your parents are fighting. I went with my sister to a club. I don't know why. I didn't know what clubs were. I was just coming in from the South. And so Ellen said, you'll have to dress older or whatever. I don't know why I went with her. Maybe it's because there was nothing else to do. I was always at home. I didn't know anyone in St. Louis. And so I went with her that weekend. And it was word that Ike Turner and the Kings of Rhythm, Ike pistol whipping Turner or something, because there were fights there, because there were so many women there. The husband image was great, the guitar and how he looked, And I thought he looked better than he looked in person. I was sitting there waiting to see this Ike, so to speak. And the band was on the stage, and all of that looked interesting. And even a stage, It wasn't like a stage at school. It was a real dance floor, and then the stage was just in the back. And then Ike came in, immaculately dressed. He was very thin in those days, and the clothes was just fitting, not a wrinkle, not bulging. He's not a bulging type of person, the back and all of that. He's just straight. Diamond ring. And there's something called a process that you put the hair through to straighten it, and then they wave it and all. So he's wearing that. Because that was old men, as I considered in high school then. It was an old men hairstyle, High school kids didn't wear this hair. So immediately that was like, these guys are, kind of old men, not somebody that you would date. And then Ellen said, that's Ike. And I thought, God, he's ugly. I've never seen anybody that thin. Ike's face is very Egyptian. Bones. This was a bone sticking out. And in high school, that is a no-no. You can't have bones on your face. You know what that's like. And he didn't have very good dental work at the time either. And, he was not very attractive. And he stepped onto the stage, and I was like, still very teenage-like high school. I was basketball, and I was high school girl, and in this club with these grown people, so of course he didn't look great. But he picked up the guitar, and that was it. It was like, wow. And they performed. He and the bass player. Bass player was his nephew, and they would stand on stage and do flips over backwards with the guitars, and they had a step where they swing the neck of the guitar, and then the horn section would do this step walking out in the audience and just jamming. People were having a fit and boogieing. It was fantastic. They knew Ellen, my sister. because she was popular and the drummer's girlfriend. And Aline must have introduced us. She's my sister Ann. And I said, hi, how are you? And Ike was shy, and I was a little skinny girl. So what did he care? No, it meant nothing to him. And then the thing came about the singing. And then he was a bit curious because he wasn't curious because he thought, well, she probably sings whatever, And then that's why he was shocked when he heard my voice. Because it's not a girl's voice, and there's never been a girl voice, a female voice, a very fine voice. It's always been like this. Hi! Can you imagine a little girl with this voice? I'm a bold soul sister. ESS. How? I think they all thought that I couldn't sing because I was very young. I was still in high school, quite skinny. I looked young, no makeup, just lipstick only and curled hair. And I took the mic and, nice to meet when I first met him, when he finally took me under his wing, so to speak. And very nice to me financially. I had dental work, and he bought me clothes and clothes for stage, but also singing, he would give me extra money, and I bought some school clothes home.
Darling!
Yes, Tina?
You're starting to get next to me.
Honey, that was my plan from the very beginning.
Word had been given to Ike for something from me. I saw him work really hard, late at night, writing songs, late into the morning. I saw him on stage, often writing intermissions. Sometimes he would stay on stage and just play and write. And when his singer left him, the singer that was the lead singer, there was about to be a recording session, and I had to learn the songs because I was the singer at the time. And he told me the story about his life. Actually, what happened is he wanted to go on stage. He didn't say that to me, but he said every time he recorded a hit record on someone, they would always leave. So he never got a chance to travel with his music. And it was really emotional. He told me about his whole trip from leaving Mississippi by foot, hitchhiking to Memphis, getting to know a record company there that taught him. Actually, he was A&R man for a record company and talent scout, so that was his expertise, But he wanted to get on stage and be a star. And he had always had problems with how he looked. They didn't think he was attractive. The attractive men were mulatto-looking guys and driving big cars, so he had a hard time, and I felt sorry for him. So when he told me the story, I said, I won't leave you if there's a hit. My idea at the time of what I told him is that I would go on stage and I'll sing the songs and you will get on stage. You'll be a star, basically. But it wasn't my thought, you see. It was that promise because that's where he wanted. He wanted to be his own star. He was his own star in St. Louis, but to get on the road with that, he needed a record, and he didn't feel he could sing. He can sing. He could sing then, but he wasn't confident and he was shy. I entered Ike's life. This man was already a star to me. Big house, diamonds, Cadillac. And I didn't know about stars. I didn't think about stars. I only knew about movie stars. I didn't think about how records were made on the radio. I didn't analyze it because I wasn't into analyzing music. So my mission, how I saw it then, is that I was doing this for Ike. So when Ike recorded the song, it had already been established that I was singing this song for him.
Oh, there's something on my mind.
The song wasn't a song that I wanted to sing or liked. It was a song he wrote about himself, A Fool in Love. This man had experiences with women. I just had boyfriends. There hadn't been no marriage in my life. And so the whole time, that the involvement that I got into was giving this to him because I thought he deserved it. So I didn't think, I'm a star now. Actually, I was in hospital when the record hit. I hated it. And then I heard my name. It wasn't Anna Mae or Ann. It was Tina. Well, I didn't like that much because, it was fine to sing on stage and not really feel like a star because it really belongs to him. He wrote the song. He produced the song. What else can you think? It's his. So Ike and Tina Turner. And then he came in to visit me at the hospital. And I said, what is his name? He says, well, I changed the name because it didn't sound like a good stage name. It was really taking over. It just took over my life. And, I had no say. Because at that time I was, becoming more afraid of him and still being loyal. And I'm sure psychiatrists would put a title to it, but I was just this young girl that got caught into this commitment. And then we went on the road as Ike and Tina. I still didn't feel like a star because Ike was controlling everything. I had no say. So I had no feeling of being a star.
You keep
Want Ike, and Ike didn't want me. What happened is Ike was trying to secure himself to have a singer. Maybe that's why he had sex with me. What happened is wild parties at the house, and once I went and slept with Ike because I thought these guys were going to come into my room, and well, I trusted him because I thought he was my friend. And then he started to play around, and then I was embarrassed, and I didn't say no. I don't know why I didn't say no, but I knew I felt awful, and I felt shamed afterwards. And then after that, I guess he started to treat me different, and I guess I might have started to feel like I was his girlfriend. But I know I was never happy with it like I was with my earlier boyfriend. So it was always an uncomfortable relationship. It was a love, but it wasn't a love between man and woman in a healthy kind of way. It was another infatuation, fear, devotion, and all of that.
You should have treated me right.
Fair to let him know that this is not a really relationship. I don't like it. You and I don't really like each other that way. Because I think that's fair. Confrontation, I'm really good at that. I do it. It's healthy. But Ike is not one to accept truth. He didn't want to hear the truth as well. But in spite of it, I don't have an answer to tell you why I went on and ended up like 16 years with this man. I can only say that mentally, I was nowhere near as I am now. I was still a country girl that stepped into a situation. I believed in my word. I believe that if you give your word, you stand by it. And he hadn't done anything that bad, you know, and I think I still had a lot of sympathy for him. That's what it was, really. Past the first stages, which was about 7 years of working with him and pretending to be his wife, actually, and wasn't. And the public thought we were man and wife because of the child and all of that. So the whole thing was shameful. But I still went through it because there was no place to go, really. Where would I have gone to? Just back home to try to work. And I think I foresaw a problem with him not dealing with that because I was the star, you know. What would they have done without me? Who was going to be Tina? If it had been that easy, he would have let me go and gotten somebody else. So he realized that once it had gotten that far, the public knew who Tina was, and he couldn't just switch and get another singer. So that wasn't a reality. I think I just couldn't think of a way out. Children became involved. They were in school. I had a family. I had to be the mother and the father of those children because I was not so much a man that was a father. And I cared about dragging the kids off or separating them or trying to put them in a situation until I got myself together. I didn't have it together in my head. In the meantime, life was going on. I still felt sympathetic because I was still trying very hard to get hit records and all. But everything was fine until the drug scene came because then it became disrespectful in every aspect. The drugs at the house, the kids, and the whole thing. And then the plan started that after the kids graduated from school, that would be the easiest time to leave. Because I did leave once and I took my 2 children. And then it was a problem getting them to school. I didn't have money, and I really saw that that wouldn't work. So then when I went back, I decided the next time I would leave, it would be when the kids had graduated. And that was the plan, and that's actually what happened. I learned how to be a mother in Tennessee working for the white lady, the Hendersons. I learned how to care for children, how to teach them as children, all of that, you know. And this is what I applied to my children. And I love finally taking care of my own with my firstborn. And what I did, how I handled it was whenever I was home, I made sure we ate our meals together. I would sit and talk with them about their daily activities. My son, my oldest, was more important to him to get his mother's attention and approval and to see his report card and to come to school to meet his teacher and that kind of thing. And I supported him there. And I did as good as I could to hold it all together, and I think a lot of it worked. When they were little, I was a singer. When they were born into the world, I was a singer and dancing and all. So there was nothing to adjust to because as a child, the adjustment was made. There were stages when they started to go to school and my style interfered a little bit, especially with the oldest, Craig, again, because, you know, he wanted his mother to be like the other kids' mothers. And here I was, you know, rock and roll R&B singer, so to speak. And not just an R&B singer, this dancer and this raunchiness.
I was thinking about
the success now. It's hard for them to say, you know, Mother, I'm really proud of you, but it's almost like, God, you know, Mother, you're incredible. I'm really, proud of you. Ronnie has never said it. Ronnie would say something like, Mother, you are happening. He's almost like a rapping attitude. You sold that many records on Private Dancer? That kind of amazement. Because he was more into his father and his father's music. And I explained, your father's music didn't make money. It didn't reach the charts. This kind of music is what happens. Well, he plays music. But Craig was really just thoroughly impressed. And once he stood and watched me on stage, and he said something to me recently. He said, Mother, I forgot how much you did, He's curious now. Where do you get the energy? How do you do it? And it's just amazing him as well. My oldest, he's in and out of school, picking up skills often. My youngest, still working music. He writes a bit. He can play piano like his father and bass guitar, and he tries to write a few songs. I think sometimes that my career started later. Theirs could. I'm hopeful in that sense.
Well, the men come in these places.
What's love got to do with it? Something good is obviously supposed to... Of marriage is a very youthful thing. And it's the two people getting together, starting their lives. They get the house, furnish the house, then the children. I've done that for myself already, so why do I need to... I've got a boyfriend now. He's in the house. I've got the houses. I've taken care of all that now, so why do I need to walk down the aisle and have a ceremony? We spend our anniversaries. We have Christmas and New Year's. We have fun. The only reason to make it legal and to make it accepted and to make it a decent life and respectable one, well, then I'm doing it for the people, aren't I? Also, you know what this thing can do? It can interfere psychologically. It could interfere with all of this peace that I have. We don't need it. We are together. We are committed. That's all the both of us need at the moment. If for any reason I decide that I'm ready now, I want to have some close friends, and the same with him. But neither one of us know until we would decide that. I can't say that if he would say that, I would say yes. I don't know. But if I didn't, I don't know what would happen there either. He might say, well, I'm out of here, or I'm ready for marriage, and I'm going to go find a woman that will marry me. I don't know, but that's the mystery if it comes. I believe I have most of it sorted out. First of all, I have touched a place in my soul, my life. My understanding, my way of thinking, my peace within me has all come to one. I think that I will live a long life, but I think it's for a reason, and I accept it. I don't dwell. I'm not touched by a lot of things. If I am, I really get right to dealing with it. I look forward to the time that maybe me, Mick, Elton, all of us get on a stage, something like the Prince's Trust, and go across the world and have a good time, if we want. That type of thing. But the one-nighters, every album, a tour, that kind of stuff has to go now. It's gotten to that time. So have I sorted out to that point? Sometimes I think about my life. I think I went through all of this. I must have survived it. Someone said, you could have been dead, and you could have been not even existing as a singer, but I am. So it's the same thing. Something out there that's magic about my life.